because the Ravens lit up the Browns, but that feels like it was 84 years ago.
Well, think about this, Colleen. Lamar Jackson played this past Tuesday 12 days after testing positive for COVID-19. And he said afterward he had flu-like symptoms. He still has no sense of taste or smell. Still went out there and ran for over 90 yards and a touchdown, threw for a couple more scores. The Ravens played the way that the Ravens are supposed to. So from what I've been told this week in practice, Jackson has put most of that weight back on. He looks good, he feels good, and he's going to need to be good against a really good Cleveland Browns defense. Also, not for nothing here, Colleen, and this is certainly not to minimize the global pandemic, but the way that the virus moves is transmission. When you've got a whole bunch of guys who have antibodies like the Ravens now do after their outbreak, this could potentially be a competitive advantage here as we go down the stretch.
That's true. And listen, I mentioned it before, so much has changed for this Browns team since week one. Chubb only ran 10 times in that game. They've really cleaned up the turnovers, too. Lately, they had 3 in that game. Now they have the 4th best turnover margin in the entire league. They've gone 9-2 since losing to the Ravens in that game, 38-6. I mean, it was a complete blowout. Kevin Stefanski, he's a first-year coach. He didn't have a real offseason or a preseason or any real time to kind of get to know these guys. So that week one was really just like a fresh start, and now he sort of knows the team better. He knows what he's working with. He's calling way more play action for Baker. So this is a very, very different scenario, I think, for the Browns and the Ravens, and really for Kevin Stefanski. So it could mean a very different outcome here in the end. All right, guys, so obviously a lot has changed since week one, including the situation with the Eagles. Carson Wentz benched. You have Jalen Hurts starting here this week. I mean, his first start against one of the best defenses in the entire league. So the guy with the contract worth more than $150 million will be the Eagles' backup. Wentz leads the league in giveaways. He's been sacked the most. The offense is just a complete mess. So, Mike Robb, what do you do with Wentz at this point? D-Hall, Mike Robb, you got any suggestions?
It's time for some shop talk presented by Lowe's. D-Hall, you heard what Colleen said. All of those numbers that Carson Wentz, the giveaways, the turnovers, but he is a very rich man, over $150 million contract, and he's not even hit that new money. He's under contract till 2024. Big dog, how does the Philadelphia Eagles handle this situation right now?
Well, you know what? I think they're starting off doing it the right way. I'm not a person who believes that it's all the quarterback's fault. It's not all Carson Wentz's fault. As you've seen there on some of those highlights, Alshon Jeffries just fell down. You got to go up and make a play on that football. It was several times I think you saw Dallas Goedert and Carson say that the communication was off. He thought he should have been in one spot. But it's no secret that Carson Wentz is playing bad. I think they've done the right thing by going ahead and putting Jalen Hurts in there. I think Carson needed some accountability, When you're in a locker room and you have a star player not making plays, not living up to that contract or to that hype, it can weigh on a lot of the other guys in that locker room. And so I like what Philadelphia has done by inserting Jalen Hurts into this lineup and just, letting Carson understand that you're going to be held accountable. If you go out there and you keep playing this bad, we have to replace you. It doesn't matter who you are. And so I like that. I don't think Jalen Hurts is the answer, but I think it gives Carson Wentz a moment to step back, see everything, and just take a deep breath and calm down, because he's absolutely not playing the same type of football that he's played in years past.
I've said it before in the past, D-Hall. Carson Wentz, something happened on that podium when they won that Super Bowl, and Nick Foles was the one getting the Super Bowl MVP. To me, Carson Wentz has not been the same since that. And yes, it's not all Carson Wentz's fault. Yeah, the offensive line seemed to have gotten old overnight. You know what I mean? This was one of the top offensive linemen lines in the National Football League. But it seemed like they got old. What happened to Jason Peters? What happened to him? He used to be one of the top offensive linemen. But at the end of the day, when you're paying your quarterback that much money, D, and maybe I'm wrong in this, but you're paying him to be the difference in the games. And to me, what message do you send to the locker room if you don't make the switch? Now, D, you were a big-time, defensive player in this league, you know what I mean, potential Hall of Famer. How would you have liked it If you could visually see your quarterback is the problem on your team, but your head coach continues to put him out there, wouldn't you feel a little disrespected, big dog?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, you feel disrespected. And I think that's what sparked this change to Jalen Hurts. I think everyone around Carson has kind of noticed, like you said, something's not right with this dude. Like, I played against Carson Wentz in his early days, and I tell you what, this kid could sling that rock. He was always looking to throw it. He knew when to get rid of a play or give up on a play. And now it seems like he's just trying to be Superman and just do too much.
Yeah, I agree with you, D-Hall. I tell you one thing. I would move on from Carson Wentz whenever I could at some point if I'm the Philadelphia Eagles, because at the end of the day, if you can't handle a strong backup behind you in the locker room and they always got to get rid of their strong backup, there's something wrong with your starting quarterback in Carson Wentz. Colleen, back over to you. That was shot.
For at the beginning of the year, Taysom Hill looking for his 4th straight win going against rookie Jalen Hurts, who's making his first career start with Carson Wentz benched. Mike Robb, what are you expecting in this game?
Yeah, I'm looking at this game. I'm looking at the bubble linebackers or the stacked linebackers, Demario Davis, Quan Alexander for the New Orleans Saints. They're going to be vitally important in trying to stop Jalen Hurts. Obviously, this is his first start. They're going to throw the ball downfield some, but they're obviously going to use his legs. That's what this Philadelphia offense needs. They need some excitement, a little bit of a spark, and I think Jalen Hurts can do that. Demario Davis, Quan Alexander, I'm telling you, they're going to be all over the place. They're the hit and shed guys to run the quarterback down from inside out on those read options. They're going to be vitally important if the New Orleans Saints want to win.
One of the best linebacking groups in the entire league for sure. And yes, the Eagles definitely need a spark on the offense. They need like a fire on offense at this point. How about this? Chiefs at Dolphins. Kansas City's offense putting up over 30 a game against Miami's tough defense that's only allowing 18 points a pop. Both teams on hot streaks. The champs, they've won 7 straight. And the Dolphins, they've won 7 of 8. D-Hall, what are you thinking about here for this game?
You know what? I'm absolutely going to be looking at Tua Tagovailoa. I think it's no question who the better quarterback is in this matchup. It's Patrick Mahomes. But you just talked about this Miami Dolphins defense, and so they're going to keep Miami in this ball game. I want to see how Tua responds when things get tough and they're down. Does he force some throws down the football field? He's going to get the opportunity to watch a former MVP in Patrick Mahomes, and probably the guy who's going to win it this year again in Patrick Mahomes. So I'm looking forward to see how Tua responds going up against a great quarterback in Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, how can he keep up with Patrick Mahomes? And, of course, the Chiefs back in the building where they won it all this past season. So there's some good energy there for sure. Colts at Raiders. Now, this game, massive in the AFC. Colts are the 7 seed, but they still have a shot to obviously take the division title. The Raiders right now outside looking in at 8. Phillip Rivers, 18 career wins versus those Raiders, the most in NFL history. Derek Carr probably still shocked the Jets handed him the win with 5 seconds left last week. Thank you very much to the Jets. Tommy P, you're tracking a few injuries here in this game.
That's right, Colleen. The Colts are finally getting healthy. Quarterback Phillip Rivers, who we know has been dealing with turf toe, that thing looked gnarly a couple of weeks ago. I am told the toe looks a lot better. Rivers should be able just to push off a little bit more than he has been recently. Also, left tackle Anthony Costanzo, all indications are he should be good to go coming back from his knee injury. The Colts getting back some people on defense as well, which is big against a Raiders team that, of course, you got to stop Darren Waller. And you also got to stop a running game that went for 188 yards on these Colts last season.